Well, the match this past weekend didn't quite go the way we hoped for. The revenge against Loudon for them knocking us out of the Open Cup. Let's get the revenge in the league. We've now seen them. We can get it back. And unfortunately, we couldn't do it. And we lose again to Loudon United. A lot of crazy stuff with this match. I'm sure there's going to be a lot for us all to talk about. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. If you didn't know that by now, then where have you been? I'm here to guide you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club, which I'm going to warn you right now, this is probably not going to be the funnest of shows as far as the positivity goes. But we'll figure this out. We got some people helping me out here, and it's sort of the normal crew here. Let's go first to Mr. Dylan. Dylan, I feel like it's the same answer as last week, but how are you doing, my man?
You know, I really wish I hadn't spent 2 hours of my Saturday night the way I spent 2 hours of my Saturday night. But okay. Life goes on. I think, excuse me, I think that's the lesson to take away from the last month.
There we go. Let's just get past that. We're done with me, right? Right, Brad? Brad from Vegas. Right, Brad, we're done with me. Let's get away from me. I know it's still technically May, but our next match is in June. Let's just get out of me, right? Let's leave May in the dust.
Yeah, let's forget about this month. 100% agree with Dylan. Waste of 2 hours. Couldn't score, in a legalized establishment outside of Las Vegas here in Nevada.
And then one more person join us back from his brief hiatus from our show, and that's the bearded one himself, Mr. Larry. Larry, we haven't heard from you for a while. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been on the baseball field a ton as of late, so I'm a little bit beat up, but I am happy to be back. I will agree with Dylan in that life goes on, and he's doing a slow pour. Kind of a sexy thing he's got going on here right now. He's got the hair going and the slow. Oh, look, he's even tilting to the side. I can narrate this like all night. I can do this. I've done play-by-play before.
So every time I hear y'all say life goes on, I just keep thinking of that old Tupac song. And now that's stuck in my head. Thank you all for putting that in my head. I don't think Brad did, but I think Dylan and Larry threw that in there. So thank you for sticking Tupac in my head for this episode and probably for the rest of the night. And I guess I could say probably just hearing Tupac on repeat is probably a lot more exciting than having to think about this match and discuss this match. But that is our job here on this show is we've got to recap the matches as much as it pains us. And we're going to recap the matches past weekend where Orange County was hosting a revenge match against Loudon United. I think Brad's trying to say something as I'm speaking. What are you trying to say, Brad?
No, I'm not trying to say anything, but I'll go ahead and start us off. Revenge was not had here. And the way that Orange County battled the entire game here, I don't think revenge was ever going to be had. A couple chances that just, get mishit. But Orange County isn't creating. They're not getting into the final third. They're not, we've talked about this same problem persisting for multiple weeks now, and I don't know, the only way I could say to improve on it would be to kind of blow up the 18.
Here, I'm going to throw a challenge at everyone really quick. Really quick, Larry. I want to throw a challenge at anyone that can quickly research stuff, because this is going to come up from at least me, but I feel like in this match, the referee, I want to know, what was the, overall time for every call that was made where it was like the 3 or 4 seconds after the foul, and then the referee finally decided to blow the whistle for a foul. I want to know if anyone has compiled the stats for that. I want to know, it has to have been over like 2 minutes of time from time of foul to time of whistle. That's a challenge for anyone, even our listeners that are watching live. If you have that information, if you know where to find that information, let us know. But yes, I agree with you, Brad. This team is not playing up to par. And Larry, I'll let you talk because I know you wanted to get in there. Here's my answer to this. This team has no chemistry right now. They are all playing as individuals. It's basically 11 individuals playing against the other team. So if you watch, I implore you to go watch the last 4 or 5 matches. There are over 10 times in each match where a player dribbles too long, or a player tries to take a shot when there's a better pass option to get an open player. There's multiple times where players are being selfish in what they're doing and they're not working within a team system. Now, that can play with the injury issue the team's having. It's a roster and it's a lineup that's just basically, let's fill in the pieces and hopefully this will work. But that's what we're seeing from this team, especially in the month of May, a team that has no cohesion and that is playing individual ball, and that's not going to work as a professional in soccer. Even if it's tier 2 soccer, it's not going to work in the professional ranks. Larry, I'll let you speak, and then we'll go to Dylan. Dylan's been patiently waiting. Thank you for following.
There are, for starters, we cannot win a game with only 13 players, and that's what we have. We have 11 starters. We got 2 guys on the bench, and then there are 5. And sorry, I know every one of those 5 players are a better soccer player than I could ever dream to be, but then we have 5 children on the bench, and it is not going to work. Ray, you hit it perfect. There is no cohesion. There's a lot of individual play, and there are some individuals who are playing amazing. Brian Olofsky has been fantastic this entire season. Kyle Scott has been as good as anybody in this entire league in that position. Man, but 11 guys not playing together and just playing individually is not going to get it done. And then, coming off the bench this last weekend, Ethan and Sophie. And then when the next thing you're bringing off the bench is a 17-year-old kid he's 17. He's 17. Asensio, Kasipli, Dogman, Powers, Partita, Foxy. Who else am I missing? Is that everybody who's injured? Everybody. 6 players who not only would be in the 18, but half of them would be in the 11 on a week-in, week-out basis. So I don't want to hear anybody blame the referees for this loss. There were some garbage calls by the referee, no question whatsoever. Unarguable. Okay? But look at this shot here by Bryce. It's a great move and a terrible effort to dribble the ball straight to the goalkeeper without really anything behind it whatsoever. I don't know what fixes this team besides getting these 6 players back and getting them back healthy and getting them back soon, because right now, this last month or so, this has been an absolute nightmare. It hasn't been fun to watch. I don't think anybody's having a good time right now.
Before you speak, Dylan, I'm just going to say this. What do you have, Larry, against 17-year-old Marcus Lee? That guy gets props from me for getting under the skin of the Loudoun United goalkeeper and getting him so riled up. I mean, come on, Loudoun's in a good position there. It's a 17-year-old just sort of pestering him. Give props to Marcus for that. That was pretty damn awesome. Dylan.
Again, he's better than me. But he's a 17-year-old kid trying to play up against grown men, and he's not ready for it. He's not ready for it.
We should create Dylan. We got to find a way to do this, like the Rob Kiernan, blank housery award, and we can award it to a player each game. And I think Marcus would get it for this match, right?
Yes. Should I continue, or do you just want a yes or no answer?
No, I want you now, since everyone cut in
Right.
front of you to talk about this match. Go for it, Dylan.
I'm going to start with positives. Marcus Lee is a kid. And he said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and step on this guy. Well, actually, he said, I'm going to get stepped on. And you know what I'm going to do about it? I'm going to step back on him. And I'm going to wind up the other team. And we're late. We're trying to chase. We're trying to get back into something. Yeah. wind up the opposition goalkeeper, make him start thinking, is he going to step on my foot every single time that there's a set piece here? Just get under their skin a little bit, cause problems. He's lightning quick. He can cause problems that way. He can cause problems by getting under their skin. Great. And honestly, I'm happy to see generally the youth academy working. He's clearly kind of the next key. He's getting minutes here and there. He seems to deserve them. He did well in a minute cameo in which Orange County offered very little going forward. Working my way backwards, I think Cameron Dunbar received a lot, and I mean a lot, of criticism for taking that shot in the first half. And I think he was right to take that shot. Everyone said, oh, Bryce Jamieson he's open. There's three people between Cameron Dunbar and Bryce Jamieson in that situation. I think you take the shot every single time. Still, kudos to Bryce Jamieson for not throwing a fit about it and just getting on with it. Orange County is not great right now. We're very bad. We've lost 4 straight matches, and I believe 5 out of the last 6. We went an entire month without winning a match. That's not great. Champions don't do that. That being said, it doesn't feel as pointless as it did in 2022. I have some hope every time we play that we're actually going to get a result and not just fall apart in 10 minutes, concede a goal, and then I'm going to watch some 6'5" dude pretend that he's never played center back before and be awful for an hour and a half every single Saturday for some reason. And I'm apparently the only person that's realizing this. No, it feels like, yeah, we're not doing great, but we're not that far away. We are one defensive lap. We are one poor pass away from kind of doing something capably. And finally, to kind of cap this one off, I'm going to take deep breaths so I don't swear, because I know that sometimes children listen to this show. That was some of the worst refereeing that I've ever seen. Specifically, that game was allowed to get out of hand. And then that wasn't a red card ever. That wasn't a penalty ever. And I thought that when the last 10 years we had stopped awarding red cards and penalties at the same time, unless you're Luis Suarez a la 2010 World Cup, which a shoulder-to-shoulder challenge is not. So it just really felt like I had high hopes. I saw a FIFA patch on the front. I was like, oh, this could be a good game. It's going to be like the 2021 final. Great refereeing. I don't know what happened. So
Can I chime
kind
in?
of
Dylan,
all
really quick?
around terrible. Yeah, please.
Well, I just want to get in because that call that you're talking about, the horrible red and PK towards the end of the match, that was one of those calls that I was, discussing or thinking about when I said that was one of those calls that took like 4 or 5 seconds for the ref to finally blow the whistle for the penalty. It's like the dude gets knocked down, kicks the ball, it hits the ad boards in the background. She looks around and then finally decides penalty. I'm like, I really would love to know what goes in the mind of the ref in that instance, because that happened at least 10 times in this match.
It happens. And look, that's not the reason we lost. We were bad outside of poor officiating. And frankly, a bunch of yellows could have happened earlier on that we deserved. So the fact that it took as long as it did for bookings to come out, I kind of understand. I think she wanted to keep the game kind of going and not just be handing out cards left and right. It was just bad at the end. Orange County was bad. Orange County has to figure out how to stop being bad.
Okay.
They should attempt to be good and win games.
But let me say this really quick, and I get it. Honestly, Orange County probably doesn't deserve a result, or if anything, they deserve only 1 point in this match. No way do they deserve 3 points from the way they've played. I'm just saying this though, right? But a similar type of contact happened towards the end of the first half when Owen Lamb came shoulder to shoulder with the defender for Loudon. I think it was even more of a get in the way of the run type thing, not even a shoulder to shoulder. The ref waved it off, said, keep playing. We lose possession. And then if everyone remembers, there's a minute of Owen Lamb just like running around like a wild dog loose, just trying to find anyone to bite their leg. And I know the Loudon staff got upset about that. It's not what I want to see out of an Orange County player, but to Dylan's point with the ref sort of let it get out of hand, that's what we're talking about. And again, a probably worse coming together of players at the end of the first half outside the box results in a wave it off, keep playing. but a less violent coming together in the box results in a red card for Asher Miles, who's the one player that's played every minute this season for Orange County, and now he's going to not be there, right? I mean, Asher Miles has been there, I believe, the whole time.
I have to presume that this red card is going to be rescinded because that's not how officiating has worked in 9 years. I think in 2016, FIFA said, we're not doing this double jeopardy thing anymore. If it is a genuine attempt to do something other than like injure an opponent, block the ball with your hands as an outfield player in the goal, it's a penalty and a yellow, but we are not going to give a penalty, which is, again, basically assured goal. The XG of that is 0.74, and a red card because that is too harsh for the action. It is ultimately a contact sport. But the other side of this that really winds me up is this is a contact sport, and it isn't necessarily let players get hit in the head week in and week out. That's the thing that winds me up about this, because if Owen Lamb makes contact with one of those Loudon players, he has every right to go off, because at that point he's lost his head. He's at this point just trying to lay one on somebody. It makes sense. I get it, and I've been there. You have to stop him there, and you have to pull him aside and say, if you do that again, you're off the pitch. And that goes for everybody else. So go ahead and let everyone know. Instead, you just kind of let play continue. Thomas Amon gets headhunted multiple times in this game. And at what point do we stop and say, hey, this guy needs to stop getting hit in the head every single week? You know, plenty of people make comments.
He was trying to tell the ref that on the sideline. If you watch the stream, he was actually in the face of the sideline judge.
Mike Watts brought it up multiple times saying, wow, I've never seen him this mad before. How many times does he have to get hit in the head week in, week out before something actually changes? And we start pretending that there's like this thing called player welfare, because head injuries are super serious, and he's now taken 2 in a week. And maybe it was just blood both times, but eventually someone's going to knock him unconscious, and that's going to be a lot more serious of a situation. But when you don't punish minor things, this is what happens.
I want to talk about the tactics and what's going wrong for each other, but I have one other question that I cannot seem to get answered anywhere. And my question is a 4th substitution window for Loudon in this match. I get it. The match is over at this point, but I cannot find anywhere of a clarification that any of those subs were due to a concussion. The closest thing I found is one of the subs was due to injury. And that's per the report from USL Championship. I reached out to USL Championship to get clarification on this, just so that we could be honest. And if they could give us an answer, we would say it and we'd be done with it. But I believe this happened in like 2020, where I think San Antonio was involved in a match where a 4th substitution window was used, and the league said, well, it didn't impact the spirit of the game, so we're not going to do anything about it, type thing, right? What I'm just going to ask, and anyone in the comments, if you have anything that can prove what's going on. I still don't understand how a 4th window was used by Loudon in this case. And obviously, I don't think there's anything that Orange County can do in this, but is there something Orange County can do to appeal the result and make Loudon come out and play another 2 minutes of soccer and make them spend money to do that?
Well, so the refs actually don't enforce how many substitutions happen. So if you wanted to make 1 substitution for the 7 subs that you have sitting on, great, go for it. They're not going to stop you, because that's actually not their job. It's the job of the technical staff to keep that from happening. It's probably not a great look for Orange County to go after that. But that being said, in this situation, because it benefits Orange County so well, and because the rules of the game and the laws of the game have been applied so haphazardly through this 98 minutes anyway, yeah, why not? Make them forfeit the game. I want a 3-0 win, and I would like to get 3 points from a possible, 12 in the league? 9 in the league? I don't know, whatever. Let me be biased. I'm a homer. That's why you're here.
Let me ask this. I'm going to ask, I want your opinions, Brad and Larry. Would you be all for Orange County asking for this to be overturned and pick up a 3-point win from that?
If there's justification for it, sure. If it's a weird question. The guy came on for 11 seconds. It has no effect whatsoever.
Which that makes it even more of a thing to do, because there was no need for them to do that sub at that point anyways. So they went and basically broke the rules in the final 10 seconds of a match. Let's put it on them for that. I'm all for it, man.
Keep in mind, sometimes things get lost in a shuffle, and maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I'm spitballing. Maybe somebody just lost count. Literally, maybe somebody just lost count. Now,
then fire that person.
Loudon shouldn't have lost count. The head coach shouldn't have lost count. He should know how many subs he used. And the referees should know how many subs they used as well. But sometimes things just get lost in the shuffle. I don't know what happened. I have no clue. I don't know what the rule is. I know you get X amount of windows and X amount of players, and they went over by one. But it was for 11 seconds. Should they have to forfeit the game because of 11 seconds?
Yep.
Dylan's yes. I don't. As somebody who officiates sports, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You know what?
I would like the 3 points as well. I would love to have the 3 points. Thank you.
I want to hear your point on this, Brad, but this goes down. This is similar to like the whole stadium thing where me as a representative of the podcast went up to the city because it's my right to ask for a public records request in the state of California. And I requested as many public records as I could about the stadium. Hey, guess what? I still get some records every few months from the city of Irvine from that whole incident, even though that's all been resolved at this point. So this is where I come from. When you hear me on this is, hey, they messed up. There is no need for them to sub with 11 seconds left in this match. They dropped the ball. They should bite the bullet for that one. And hey, take the loss. That's what happens. And someone gets fired for not keeping count. Brad, what's up?
Well, I was keeping count. I think we spent 2.5 minutes discussing this 11-second incident. Here's my thought on it. I'm more on Larry's side. If we 100% saw it during the game and said something, then sure, you have grounds. But the game's over. You can't go back after the game and say, hey, this substitute plus, it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to look at that and be like applying the rule of the law to the T. You know, I don't think there is precedent for such an issue in the USL Championship.
Well, there sort of is. It was the USL Championship saying, hey, we're not going to worry about it.
Look, let's just make bad faith arguments, okay? That is why you listen to a sports podcast. That's why you listen to sports radio. This is so focused on one team. We're here for bad faith arguments only. Come on. Don't bring logic into this.
I'm the heel of the show at this point. I predict losses and I do bad faith arguments or good faith arguments.
Yeah, all right, get him out of here.
We got to do this. We got to actually talk about the game a little bit, and then we'll get into our preview. The benefit of not having a guest to talk to really is because now we can spend a little bit more time with some of this fun, fun talk and arguing with each other. Hey, I feel like we're back to 2022, beginning of 2022 soccer of just hoofing it down the field and hoping that that results in something. And yeah, I guess that's not working, right? I mean, there's a reason why we're struggling right now. What, Larry?
I said, no, it's not even kind of working. And in 2022, it didn't work. 2022, we scored goals because we had that Iloski fella who was pretty good at putting the ball in the back of the net, but we don't have him right now. And nobody is stepping up to fill that hole, that massive, gigantic hole that is left with Milan's exiting of the team. I mean, we got 11 goals in 10 games, something like that. I've lost track at this point. I'd have to look at it. 12 goals in 11 games.
I believe if Mike Watts was correct on the call, I believe late in the match late in the first half, he's mentioned something like we scored 12, we've conceded 12, but I think we conceded a second one in the second half. So I think now we've scored 12 and conceded 13, but I'm not looking at the stats. I'm just going off of what I heard.
That's exactly what it is. We've scored 11 goals in 12 games. 12 goals in 11 games. That's bad. That is not going to get it done. Not when you've got freaking Charleston over there with 27 goals and Louisville with 28 goals and people putting the ball in the back of the net. We've got to find a way to score some damn goals. Great. Our defense is, doing pretty damn good and, only giving up 13. 13 goals in 11 games is good. It's excellent. But they've got to find a way to get some more cohesiveness in this offense, start moving the ball around more. And maybe it's just not the right set of players. Maybe those players that are missing right now, Kasipli, Protita, Powers, maybe that's where the disconnect is the lack of having those guys. Because if you think about it, we haven't had Partita for a month. We haven't had Kasipli for a month. What happened in the last month? Nothing.
Well, and don't forget, Dogman's been in and out this whole past month.
Dogman's been in and out, and Ashish is not a left wing back.
Yeah.
As good
Brad,
as he is.
Yeah.
I keep seeing you wanting to say something.
Yeah,
or
go
chime
ahead.
in.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and just continue off of Larry's thought. We all agree here. I think we're missing a striker. We're missing whoever's gonna put the ball in the back of the goal. And the two closest people that I really thought would be consistent about facilitating it, because I think Among is good enough to get the ball in the back of the net when he's given the opportunity. We're missing that facilitator, the dogman role. Owen Lamb, he's not picked up his 2023 self in making crosses, making things happen. But I'm a little disappointed in Cameron Dunbar right now. I don't believe he is making the smartest moves with the ball in the final third. He's turning the ball over. He's making some errant passes, some poor decisions. He's not finding whoever's going to score that ball. And then Bryce Jameson's doing everything right. I think he looks our best on the ball dribbler, on the ball player, but he's not making that correct final decision. We saw in the matchup last week against Loudon that he would get the ball right to the top of the box, and then he would make the weakest shot easy save for the keeper. It's not how we've scored goals. We're not getting free kicks in the final third. We're very easily dispossessed down there. And we're not taking advantage of the fact we have some good free kick takers. We have Marcus Knockham, who is tall and has scored goals off of crosses either. It's not the way Orange County has played over the last month and a half. From the first month of the season where we did have, I think it was like 10 goals in 5 games.
Yeah, I'll say this, Brad. You know how you correct that is you get some refs that actually will make calls when we're getting fouled outside of the box there, and then we'll get those free kicks.
All right, now you've gone too far, Ray. Get out of here.
Too far.
No, I'm not leaving. This is what I am. You all know this. Everyone comes and knows this is the way I'm going to talk, and that's why they like to listen to this. Because sometimes I say stupid stuff.
Dylan's just up there. No.
Yeah, it's a struggle because, like Brad said, Thomas Among, we know he could score goals if he gets the opportunities and gets the right ball sent in his way. One of the things you were talking about is Cameron Dunbar's been a little disappointing with some of the decisions. Hey, I think the best pass of the match this past week came from Cameron Dunbar to Bryce Jameson that set up Bryce Jameson for one of those weak shots that he did take on goal. And it was a beauty. Like for him to find that, he was like sandwiched between 2, 3, 4 defenders from out in, and somehow he spotted Bryce Jameson making that run at the top of the box and gave him the perfect pass. So, I mean, he's trying stuff. And there was a couple times where there was another time in the match, I think he, in basketball terms, broke someone's ankles from the Loudon defense by doing, I guess, the soccer equivalent of a crossover. And the Loudon player just stumbled backwards from that move. So he's maybe not standing out in the positive stuff. There are things he's doing. As much as I think Dylan was the one that said that he took the correct shot, I think if he would have made that cross to Bryce Jameson in that earlier shot, that would have been a guaranteed goal. I think it was a very doable pass. It didn't look like there was traffic in there if you make that cross. Yep. You could shake your head all you want, Dylan, but the best part about this being a podcast is people listening aren't going to know that you're sitting there shaking your head at me.
I've been shaking my head for 15 seconds and I will not stop.
Producer Andy, let's go to the video.
We don't need to go to a video for any of this, but I'm just saying, I think there are some negatives with Cameron, but I don't think he's been the biggest negative or the biggest disappointment for this team so far. I have to say the biggest disappointment so far has been Ethan Zubak. And I don't know if it's because we're asking to play in a style that doesn't work his way. I feel like a lot of time when he's coming in the match, he's being asked to go wide. And I really see him, he should be more of the hold up, center forward and getting control. But the thing that has been hard for him in the times he's done that, he's not controlling the ball well enough to really maintain or do that type of role. So I think there's that struggle there. That's been the biggest disappointment is Zubak not finding a spot to contribute well to this team. I still have faith that he can, but I think this hoofing the ball down the field, that what we're doing right now is not really working, the way that we are, I guess that Coach Carlson is hoping it will. Dylan?
As maybe hopefully one final thought. to bring this full circle, I think when Ryan Dogman returns from injury, we're going to realize just how important he is to the way that we play when he plays and he's allowed to get so far up the pitch with basically like non-existent defensive responsibility, but he's still willing to actually get back and does get back and tracks back and puts in good tackles. Other teams have to set up and we can kind of pin them back further because their fullback or their winger knows, hey, the second they get the ball, this guy is flying up the pitch and they're going to find him. And then it's just get the ball out wide. You shift the whole defense over to try and accommodate for a wide player being that far up the pitch and then across into the box that someone can tap in or head over or sky. It doesn't matter. He's going to do that 4 or 5 times a game. And there's nothing you can do about it because he's better than you and he's faster than you and he's quicker than you mentally. That's what gives us these opportunities. So without him, teams can go, well, hey, man, she's Chada's playing out of position. Why don't I just go and try and pin him instead? So we've not been playing the way that we should be playing. And if you look at the last year, really all of our success, I think, under Martin Carlson comes from Ryan Dogman being able to get so far up the pitch. So, yeah, things are really bad right now. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. And again, it doesn't feel as nihilistic as it did in 2022 to be watching this team because it feels like there's a glimmer of hope as soon as we actually have 11 actually good USL players playing and a strong first team instead of like everybody being decimated by injuries. And I'm pretty sure Sofiane Chafal is also injured because it looked like he had a shoulder brace on, some sort of brace on his upper body when he came on Saturday night. That being said, there will be no mustache until Ethan Zubak starts scoring more. So, but I would love to grow a mustache, but you're going to have to do your part.
Well, let me say this too: is as much as you were talking about with Dogman, I think Owen Lamb is not hustling back as well as he did last year. And I know we already mentioned his name. I think Brad did. He's sort of getting caught too high up the pitch, and then it's putting pressure on someone like a Marcus Knockham. And I guess when you look at it, Kyle Scott at this point with the way they're playing is having to sort of fill in back there, which I don't know if that's quite where Kyle Scott's going to be the most successful, especially missing his partner in Kevin Partita on the pitch.
I don't think so, but I think Owen Lamb has to get up that far up the pitch because we still need a fullback to get up there and to kind of create an overload on, at least on one side of the pitch. It's not the traditional side that we've gone on for the last 18 months, but it is a side and is a fullback attempting to create an overload. I think he's a little bit better 10 yards back from where he's being asked to go now, or maybe he feels he has to go now to try and create that overlap and that overload. So I think that's the issue.
That is the issue. And there'll be a chance for this team to figure out this issue and see if they can get a solution. I'm not as confident as I was maybe a couple weeks ago when it was sort of the start of this struggle. We're getting to the point now where I'm going to need to see it. And to do it, they're going to have to face and get a result against a pretty decently tough team from the Eastern Conference in Detroit City, right? That's who they're playing next. Am I wrong?
No, you are actually right for the first time on the show's history.
Who'd have thunk it?
Who would have thunk that I would be right at some point? Although I was always right with my pronunciations of stuff and all those things. So let's get into this Detroit City match. Orange County hosting Detroit City, who is currently sitting, fifth in the Eastern Conference. We always like to joke that it's the Eastern Conference, but the Eastern Conference has proven to be a pretty good conference this season. What is it going to take? What is it going to take, guys, for Orange County to get a result? I'm looking for 1 point in this match. And it sort of sucks because going back to the end of April, begging for 1 point as a result in any match would have been sort of wrong. But that's where we are at this point. We need to just get a result to figure out stuff and get more of a positive flow going. Larry, let me go to you. If you're Coach Carlson, what are you doing to change the tactics here?
What am I doing to change the tactics?
Or what tactical changes are you making going into this Detroit match? I know you're like the least tactical person here. That's why I asked you the question.
What I would say is that Detroit has to play Wednesday night against Louisville. I believe they're playing Louisville. So that's going to be a tough game. Louisville obviously is a very strong team. Detroit, however, they are sitting on 17 points with only 8 games played. That's it. They're 5-2-1 on the season. That's an interesting thought from Andy, from producer Andy. Start Zubac, have Tomas be the 65-minute sub. I don't know that I agree with that. I like Tomas's work rate. He's out there. He's busting his backside. He's getting the crap beat out of him the last few weeks. At the end of the day, to get a result, obviously, to get 3 points, we need to score at least a goal or 2 would be even better, and not give up the bonehead goals. Because let's be honest, the goal against Loudoun's first goal, that was a bonehead goal. That was a bad pass that was made back towards the middle. They intercepted, dumped it off to the dude on the right-hand side. He bangs in the back of the net. The last second goal against Oakland, man, I wasn't here for the show after that game. Had I been, I would have railed on that point because that was horrible. They all stopped playing. You can't stop playing. You're taught that at 6 years old in AYSO. Play to the whistle. Team's got to play to the whistle. They've got to quit doing the long ball over the top because we just don't have the right personnel to make that work. Move the ball around. God, get somebody healthy. Anybody healthy. I don't care who it is. Get Brad healthy and get him out there if he can run, old man that he is. We need a result. Yes, I agree. We absolutely need a result. Will we get one this week? I'm going to be honest. I don't think so.
Larry, can I just say the fact that you're talking about Detroit having to play a midweek match coming into this one, that doesn't bode well for us. Look at the last 2 opponents that we faced that played midweek matches. Loudoun, who faced LAFC in the Open Cup and then played us, and then Lou City, who played, I believe it was Rhode Island, and then played us. And in both instances, it didn't look pretty for Orange County. So let's not look at that as sort of the positive going into this match, because it really at this point is proven to be not a positive for Orange County.
My hope is to maybe take advantage of the fact that Detroit's going to be a little bit tired after playing this match against Louisville, but it hasn't worked out yet. This is my hope. I don't think so, but again, we've only got 13 players, so we can't do the run and gun style and try to run them into the ground and take advantage of them possibly being tired. We don't have the personnel for it right now.
Now, I'm going to let Dylan and Brad, if either of you have any thoughts on Detroit City. I obviously we're an Orange County SC podcast, so that's what we focused on. But you two tend to actually sort of stay up to date on some of the other teams in the league. Is there anything you've heard or know about Detroit City that is scary for us Orange County fans?
I mean, starting off with Detroit City, you can't really talk about them without Nate Steinswasher. Their goalie. He's had some really good games this season so far, made some good saves. He's been kind of a fixture in the league for quite a while as well. Look, Detroit's only allowed 7 goals in the 8 matches they've played. Cameron saying Detroit style pizza is underrated. I definitely agree with that. That is a good take from Cameron. No,
dude. Okay,
this
y'all got to get
time,
out
Ray.
of here.
Get out,
dude. I love going to Little Caesars and getting their Detroit style
Kick
pizza,
him out.
deep dish pizza. Come on, y'all. Y'all can't.
This is the Dylan and Larry show at this point. Get out.
Wait, you're kicking me out?
Yes.
Andy, do your thing.
Anyways, continuing where I was, Detroit's a very physical team. They're going to cause problems. They're going to have a very sturdy back four. They're not going to score as much as other teams in the East. And I believe the East is very top heavy. But Orange County is going to be up to the task. I don't see that this is a game that we can win unless we find a way to fix that midfield, to fix the passing. And with the injuries that we've laid out a lot, Maxi Rodriguez is a very good guy as well. There's nothing I can see us doing, improving in terms of scoring. Who's going to do it? We talked Zubac playing first, starting the game and then going to Among. Well, I agree with Larry. Among's had the better work rate. Among's scored goals, and I would love to see him go back to the physical demanding brute that he is, especially against San Diego last season. That was a game that we look back very fondly of, but it's not happened this year.
Well, I mean, dude did like backflip and like kick the crossbar with his heel, so he's being physical out there. Just isn't quite working. Dylan, your thoughts on this Detroit City match for Orange County? What hope? Give us some hope, Dylan. We need some hope in this.
Yeah, my hope is that we're not playing at Keyworth, which, fun fact, I think was the first. I know it was opened by FDR. It was like the first public works part as part of the New Deal opened by FDR in the 30s. No one cares about this. I think the thing that saves us here is we're not playing on turf. We're not playing on some incredibly weird, tight pitch that's surrounded by a railroad track on one side. The biggest thing I think is that Orange County is going to have their fans and support. And if there's anything that's going to turn this around with and this is no disrespect to the 18 people who are going to be named on Saturday. This is no disrespect to them. If there's anything that's going to turn around this not first team that's been playing, it's going to be the fans getting behind the team anyway. And I think this is kind of the key here is, yeah, we're not great. It's a new month. It's time to step things up a bit and do something new. This is a prime opportunity to do so. They're going to be away, and I think that's a huge thing because and this is a hot take, I don't think Detroit's actually all that great. I think that they do well because they play in a really difficult atmosphere to play in, but I think that only gets you so far. It's time for Orange County to kind of buck that one up. And again, it's probably not as bad as it seems. They're just missing a few major pieces, and that's causing a lot of problems. So we've had a month to try and figure out how to win. We've had a month to figure out a bunch of ways to lose. It's time to learn from that and do something different.
And I'm going to say, Dylan, you gave yourself a little bit, or you took away some credit from yourself because there is a listener that probably would be interested in learning about FDR's New Deal and Keyword Stadium.
Cameron.
Cameron,
He probably already knows. I don't need to tell him.
I know, but he probably loves that you knew that. He's a history crazy person. He likes to know about all that stuff. Yeah, I think I like hearing what all y'all said. Some of y'all had some really good points here. I think the fans need to come out and forget about May. Let's just push it to the back of our mind, get out there, support the team. There are players out there that are at least trying to do stuff, whether it's the right way or not. They're giving it. They're putting some effort into this. I mean, Thomas Among is looking like he's really trying to get some goals in the back of the net out there. Kyle Scott, as much as you always know, I always talk about this. I love aggressive players that I don't mind getting the yellow cards because players are playing aggressive. I think Kyle Scott's getting a little frustrated at this point. There's a difference between aggressive and frustration. But part of that frustration is coming from he's trying and he's doing what he can try and do out there. He's just missing his, partner out there in Kevin Partita, which is really hurting him. Seth Kasibli is really hurting. Oh, wow. I say 75% smart stuff. See,
this is probably actually the first time you have said something smart in the show. I'll agree with you on this one. Again, this isn't as bad as things were 2 years ago. We're half a step behind every single challenge, and we're trying to compensate for so many things, and it's understandable, but it's not all doom and gloom. And I'm going to take a deep breath because on Saturday night at 9:15 it didn't feel like this, but it's not even June yet. We have time, and we have not fallen that far off.
All right, let's go to this.
We just have to be in the top 8, and we can still win a cup.
We can. That's the beauty of the USL Championship is top 8. You can make the playoffs. If you get on a good run, you can win the cup. Let's do some predictions for this match. And in your predictions, if anyone has a last thing they want to talk about this match, go for it. Before we do the predictions, go for it.
This is a sponsor. Everybody, we have made it. The Orange and Black Soccer Cast has made it. And thank you to El Jimador. We're so proud to announce this section of the show, Score Predictions, is brought to you by El Jimador Bebidas, a sponsor of the USL Super League, which kicks off this August. El Jimador Bebidas is a deliciously crisp malt beverage that serve up a vibrant tequila-inspired flavor, perfect for any occasion. If you're watching along, you see everybody taking a big fat sip of theirs right now. Tonight, this perfect occasion, Score Predictions. So, gentlemen, please, Brad, then Larry, then Ray, will you give me your score predictions, what flavor you tried, and your thoughts?
But before we do that, we need Brad to share with us what the standings are, so we know that is. But we'll do this, right?
I mean,
no?
we could have gotten there afterwards, but yeah, sure, whatever.
I
We've
really
all been
liked
drinking El
Dylan's-
Jimador, so it's not going great.
So yeah, this week I am gonna give my score prediction with lime margarita flavor. You know, it's pretty good. I could definitely drink this on the poolside. I do like the agave nectar that it is made with. Very sweet. Tastes like a lime margarita. The only thing it's missing is tequila, which I'm gonna add next time I have one of these. Score predictions where we're at right now. Taylor is still in first, winning a couple points on the week. I have jumped into second somehow with a prediction that a lot of you guys gave me a lot of flack for last week of saying we were going to lose again. You know, and I'm probably going to continue that. Michael remains in third with a solid 25 points.
Wait, Brad's in second, like overall.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm losing my mind here. Go for it, Larry.
I tried tonight the pina coconut margarita. It is not. It's not the worst thing I've ever drank. It's probably going to be pretty good, like Brad said, sitting out by a pool. If you are a 23-year-old girl in Las Vegas, this is not the drink built for a 55-year-old man who's bald with a great big white beard. But I have some, and I will drink it because I like me a cocktail every now and then. As to prediction, I'm wrong all the time this year. I'm terrible this year. I'm in like dead last place, I think. I'm pretty darn close. So, having said that, I'm going to go 2-0 Detroit.
Perfect. Well, I'm giving my prediction. I've got just like Brad, I'm on Brad's team right here with the classic lime, classic margarita flavor. Yeah, it's I agree. I could picture myself going down to Laguna Beach, setting up a chair, letting the kids play in the water, my wife and I with a couple of these drinks. My wife actually liked the grapefruit Paloma. That was one that she liked. So I could picture us both popping one of these. Obviously, we're not supposed to at the beach. So we would find a way to not let it be seen that we're drinking something like this. The cool thing, though, I think, is like these cans are actually made really well, too. Like they don't look like they're beer, or they look like a Sprite or something like that. So maybe it's something that you can utilize. I'm not condoning. I'm not saying to do it, but that's something that we will do. But yeah, my prediction. My 5-0 did not work last week. I'm going to switch it up.
Wow. Shocking, Ray.
You ready, Dylan? 5-0 Orange County in this match. 5-0 Orange County.
I will drink an El Jimador Bebida to that.
Well,
I will drink any number of things, but specifically this week, I will drink an El Jimador Bebida to that. Thank you, El Jimador, for sponsoring this section of the podcast.
Oh, cool. And I thank you for everyone that's been throwing in their predictions as well. Although Cameron's is a little weird. I don't quite understand. Is the El Jimador beating us? I guess that's.
I think it's because we're a little bit toasty this week.
Off of 5% El Jimador, I don't know.
We're all lightweights, baby. We don't drink anymore.
You got to round.
Old.
5.9. 5.9, so it rounds to 6, Brad. Let's do this. Brad, I want to hand it off to you, I think, right? Because we have something else we have to talk about, or no?
Yeah, I haven't given my prediction. I don't know if Larry gave his. I'm gonna say 3-1 Detroit this week. I'm gonna go with just more sadness. Anyways, moving on. We have wonderful news to announce. We talked about how it's finally the end of May. We're moving on into June, and for us here at Orange and Black Soccercast, it's Pride Month, and not only is it Pride Month, Playing for Pride is back once again in 2024. That's right, you heard it here first. The competition is already live. I believe we have sent out a link in the Discord, and I think on X. Same rules as prior years. We ask that you make a donation to Athlete Ally, which is a cause that we all support and have donated in the past as well. There are values associated with every player, so you're given a budget. It is not inflation proof, as Russell pointed out in the Discords the other day. You get $13. Each player is worth a value of 1 to 5. Your players where 0 are going to be your rookies who will make the 18 or are on the roster, or players that are injured that probably won't be back in June. Those players are like Ben Norris, Ryan Ayub. Those are your fill in the back end of your roster players. For if you wanted to take a couple of 5-point players, those players are this season Ryan Dogman if he does return healthy, and Thomas Among. You're most likely to either assist or score on the pitch. The rest of the players are 1, 2, 3, or 4 values. Go ahead and check it out on our Discord, on our Twitter, to see the full list of players. You're given $13 to pick 5. You earn points throughout the month based on the performance of your players. And at the end of the month, we can proudly announce the team has offered us a couple of prize packages that we will share with you guys later on for our first and second place winners. And I might add a scarf if the team has a scarf for third place this year. So go ahead and start getting those predictions in, and go ahead and start letting us know who you guys chose for 2024 playing for Pride.
Perfect. And anyone that has been following us since the very beginning, when it was just Dylan and I, this is a cause that we have supported since day one. Literally, I think we started our podcast in and around June of 2018. And this was one of the first things that we really both wanted to support, and we've been doing it ever since. So thank you for everyone that participated in the past, and for those that are going to participate this year. Again, we just ask that you make a donation of your choice as far as monetary value to Athlete Ally as part of your participation in this. And again, the club has been nice to give us some stuff that we can give out to some of the winners. So awesome.
Hey, a couple things. Be a good neighbor, you know? It's Pride. Should be Pride all the time. But hey, we got a whole month to celebrate it, and we're going to celebrate the heck out of it. Hopefully there's not kids listening, you know. Anyway, and if you need to catch up with where we are, why don't you go ahead and follow us on whatever platform you're listening to. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Probably forgot one in there somewhere. OCSC _ Soccercast, or search for Orange and Black Soccercast. Sorry to dead name Twitter, whatever it's called now. For people, I care, and I do a really good job. But for some horrifically transphobic jerk, I don't really care about his website. Oh well.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm so trying.
Let's do this. It's time to sort of get things wrapped up here on this episode so we can stay under the time allotment that we have. As always, because I'm here, we're going to wrap it up by doing what did we learn in this episode. I'm going to start it off because I learned a really interesting fact in this episode. I learned that 75% of the time I'm smart. So that is what I learned today. Thank you for the listeners that participated in the poll. I'm smart 75% of the time, Dylan. So you got to take that and live with that. Dylan, what did you learn in this episode?
Hey,
Andy.
Can I interrupt really quick?
Yes, please.
That 75% number was 75% of the people who voted in the poll on YouTube said that you say smart stuff. Not that you say smart stuff 75% of the time. Just want to be clear, because you know there's lies and there's damn lies and there's statistics.
Okay, so 75% of the listeners think I'm the smart one. 25% think the rest of these guys are the smart ones. Dylan, what did you learn this episode?
You know what? I don't know if I learned anything. I learned that I probably shouldn't be drinking 2 malt beverages before the show because things are probably not going to go super well for me.
Perfect. Larry, what did you learn tonight?
I learned that I am all vibes, no tactics. And I'm okay with that because we know that this is facts. I am
Look at how
pure
happy you
emotion.
are.
I am pure emotion, and that's who I am, and that's what I do. And I will drink this to that, and I will drink this to that.
I got a dare for you. Wait. Don't finish that. You got to mix them together in one glass.
You want me to mix Woodford Reserve double oaked bourbon, $60 a bottle, with this? No,
Man,
my friend.
Thank you for not name dropping our sponsor for this episode. And
All right,
wow.
Brad, what did you learn?
Ray, did you hear about that 25%?
Well, the 25% is you guys, so we've learned that there. Brad, go for it.
I'm gonna go ahead and continue with my trend of not giving a solid answer, and I'm going to say I learned that the Detroit River is not actually a river in this week's episode. That is right. The Detroit River is actually a strait that connects Lake Erie and Lake Huron,
That's
two of the Great
pronounced
Lakes.
Erie, but okay.
Erie.
I don't say anything right.
I
you
like
know
Lake
that.
Erie. He sounds like he's from St. Louis. Lake Erie. Thank you, Brad. Really quick before we wrap this episode, I know we're a soccer podcast, but we like sports in Southern California, and a great sportsman from Southern California, San Diego relation, UCLA relation, and people in Portland
San
probably like the guy
Francisco
too.
relation.
San Francisco. There we go. Bill Walton passed away
Rest in
earlier
peace
today.
To the world's tallest deadhead and occasional basketball commentator. Truly, everything I've seen about him this week, or today, excuse me, has been nothing but positive anecdotes, and truly a dude who just embodied being a good person and being a good neighbor, and perhaps the Grateful Dead's greatest lesson, and something I harp on all the time, being kind.
Myself, as a Clipper fan of the late 80s and throughout that time, Bill Walton, I never got to watch him play as a Clipper, but I always heard his voice on the broadcast with Ralph Lawler, and hearing him say some of the fun things that he said before he became this nationally recognized color commentator was amazing to see. And he was always a positive guy, like Dylan said. He was a great person, and he definitely will be missed in the sports world. He was awesome. So I don't know, Larry, Brad, if you have anything you all want to say about Bill Walton before we wrap this up.
Being a huge UCLA basketball fan, what a loss to the world in general, because this man was awesome. He was great when he was at UCLA. He was great when he was on the court as a pro, and injuries cut his career a little bit short. But even with that shorter career, he was still named to the NBA's 50 greatest players of all time, and he absolutely, without question, was.
Yeah, I mean, he continued his great career broadcasting. I don't think the Hawaii Diamond Head Classic is going to be any better now that he's gone. I think he made the broadcast crew of the Diamond Head Classic every year just so much better. Just something about seeing a slim 7-foot guy in a Hawaiian t-shirt talking about basketball on the screen. Bill Walton was a true legend in his own right.
The big redhead himself. We're going to miss Bill Walton in what he does and what he brought to the sports world. Again, because his ties to Southern California, that's the reason I wanted to bring that up and just say rest in peace and condolences to his friends and family after he battled. He lost at 71 years old due to cancer. So that is really sad. With that said, I want to thank everyone, my fellow co-host, producer Andy, all the listeners that paid attention tonight. Larry.
Before we sign off, I would like to give a shout out to Kevin and Mona Partida, who, if you pay attention on Instagram, announced baby number 2 is coming in October. So congratulations, Kevin. Congratulations, Mona. I'm very happy for both of you. Little Thiago is going to have himself a baby brother or a baby sister in just a couple of months. So that's awesome news for you both.
Congrats. Well, thank you so much for remembering to say that. I almost forgot. Well, I did forget. So thank you very much for that, Larry. Again, thank you everyone for participating in this episode. With that said, this is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. And instead of saying we're out, I'm going to say, throw it down, big man.